lot of fun. I'm Stacy. I love to write for children. And I'll tell you all this really quick. My mom always taught me what you can't stand, you were meant to change. And I was telling Michael about this. I love children. I love children with everything in me. And I love comfortable and peaceful work environments, school environments, things like that. So people say, why do you write? I love using literature to teach kids valuable lessons, and let me tell you why. My background is human resources. I love HR. But one thing, when you sit in a human resource seat, you see a lot of things that go on in companies that you don't like. I've had to fire people. I've had to write people up. I've had to do different things because people don't know how to conduct themselves in the workplace. They don't know how to interact. They don't know how to do different things. So I realized that many of these people were honestly never taught. They were never taught that you can't talk to people any type of way you want to. They were never taught, you can't use violence to get what you want. Some people, that was their norm. That's their environment. And so when I started writing children's books, I realized that some of the things that I went through as a child, some of the best ways to reach children is through literature. Some people say, my child hates to read. Your child does not hate to read. You haven't found what your child likes to read. Every child likes to read. I once had somebody say that, my child hates to read. I said, your child doesn't hate to read because your child can tell me every single story on the Shade Room in TMZ. And they read it.
That's true.
And they can tell me details. So you haven't found what interests them. So today, we're going to talk about literature, a seed for our future. And you can take this, even if you don't write for kids, take this to always ask yourself, why am I writing? Okay? And we're going to dive into that in just a little bit. Okay? So, this is just a quick did you know. Who lives in Georgia? Okay? Did you know? Well, let me give you a little backstory to this. I used to work for the Columbia County Chamber of Commerce in Augusta, in the Columbia County area. Last year, I was sitting, this was I think June or May 2017. I was sitting in at the Legends, not the Legends Club, it's the Goodwill Industries. They have if you remember off of Fierce Fair now, they have a big complex. And there was a conference room at Edgar's Grill. And we were sitting out there and they had something called Georgia 2030. And it was the Georgia Chamber of Commerce holding this event. And while we were sitting in there, they were going, where do they see Georgia in 20, roughly 10, 15 years? And the gentleman that's over the Georgia Chamber of Commerce very nonchalantly said, 35.2% of children in the third grade are not, excuse the typo, are not reading on a third grade level. 35.2% are not reading on a third grade level. And they are building prisons for them. Why do y'all think they're building prisons for them? What do you think? What leads to that? Anybody?
They know they're going to end up in jail. They're going to end up in high-crime situations.
Exactly. Because if you can't read, you can't what? Can't function. You can't work.
Can't understand.
You can't understand anything like that. So they said this determines who goes on to further their education or who goes to jail. So as we sit here in this room, as we sit here at the Atlanta African American Book Festival, as we interact with other authors, as we sell books, as we just talk and chit chat, they are building prisons for 7, 8, and 9-year-olds, getting ready for them. That was terrifying. But let me tell you what terrified me more. As I sat in that room, now I was one of the only African Americans in the room. All the other races was mostly Caucasians, and a couple. They didn't look. It didn't faze them. Why not?
It's not going to be their kids.
It's not going to be their kids. For the most part, it probably won't be their children. Who is it going to be? African Americans. Yes. So that shook me to my core, y'all. I actually had to stop myself from crying in the room. I actually had to stop myself from crying. Our state is building prisons for babies. All based on the fact they say they can't read. So when people say, why do you write? That is one of the main reasons why I write. That is one of the main reasons why I love doing author visits. I love going to libraries. I love it, love it, love it. I'd like to ask you, why do you all write?
I'm not a writer.
You're not a writer? Why do you write?
I write to show people, because the type of literature that I write is inspirational, to just show them that no matter what you go through in life, there's a purpose behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to get to a point to understand what the purpose is. You just teach them that there's life after tragedies or whatever it is that you go through in life.
I love it. Yes, there is life after tragedy. And all of us write for a different reason. Some people write to minister to children. Some people write to deal with people with grief. Some people write to help people deal with tragedy. Some people, I've actually had people in sessions like this say, oh, I write just to sell books. Okay. And that's okay too. I'm going to let that be your journey. However, please remember that anytime you are given words to put on a page, it's to minister and to help someone else.
Yes.
Okay? It's a powerful tool. And I never want people to sleep on literature. Let's talk about one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best pieces of literature I think that exists, and that's the Bible. There are some valuable lessons in there. There are some scriptures that literally have saved people's lives. There are some things in there that when you read, if you feel like you're at the end of your rope, you know, it just like, it lets you know to be okay. It's a guide, and people say it stands for basic instructions before leaving earth. It's a powerful tool. Something like that shows you that literature, you know, what it can do for a human being. Let's take it to children's books. Does anyone remember their favorite children's book? Anybody who was a Clifford the Big Red Dog author, anything?
Yeah. Judy Blume.
Judy Blume, did you have a favorite?
I grew up in Africa.
Oh, okay. So it's different. So some people, even if it was a story that just stuck out to you, anything, it matters. So the word someone was given, and mostly everyone can remember a childhood story, even today, in their 50s, 60s, 70s, they still remember a childhood story. I remember The Little Engine That Could. I love, yeah, you won't forget that one. What was The Little Engine That Could about? What was the purpose behind that story?
I think I can.
I think I can. And what was it showing you? The power of your mind.
Yeah.
The power of the way you think. Okay? So children's literature is powerful. A lot of people say, it's just for little kids. Don't sleep on kids' lit. It's powerful, okay? Let's talk about what introducing literature can do. A few things. It plant positive seeds. It assists children in developing reading skills. Like I said, we can fight that awful statistic, 35.2%. And y'all, this thing about that statistic is growing every day. It's growing every day. It creates safer classrooms. It expands knowledge and awakens the love for reading. And then it enhances family time. Does anyone remember reading with their family or know of anyone that reads together with their families?
Now,
Is it
with my grandchildren.
your grandchildren?
Growing up, we didn't read as a family.
No, I mean,
A lot of people didn't.
My parents shipped me off.
A lot of people didn't. They did.
Yeah.
But have you ever seen pictures of families reading together?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's bonding. It opens up opportunities for questions. It lets you know what your children are thinking. Kids ask very interesting questions.
They do.
Very interesting questions. And so just think, you'll be surprised even what it just builds family time, but it also lets you know what's going on in your child's life. So what if your child, prime example, a few weeks ago, say if your child read Shade Room or TMZ, a few weeks ago, a popular rapper was killed. He was only 20 years old, although I had no idea who he was. The children I work with at my church and the children I deal with in the community, Miss Stacy, X died. I said, who? They said, X died. And I said, and his name is XXX Tentacion, something like that. I cannot, y'all, I'm serious. I didn't realize that at 35, I'm already out the loop. So, what I didn't know, you can go on the internet and watch this young man die. You can go on the internet and see him taking his last breaths.
Oh, no.
Because we live in a generation, what do?
They taped it. They had it.
Everything.
on Instagram.
And put it on the internet. Before the boy made it to the hospital, it was on the internet. So,
Wow.
That's true.
these children were telling me this, but they read about it and they saw it on the internet. So even in that, I was just like, and most of them like, Miss Stacy, did you read about it? And I was just like, I thought you didn't like to read. But it was something that interested them. But just think if a parent didn't know what music their child was listening to or didn't realize that that's available on the internet, what powerful tool talking to your child about literacy, what that exposed you to, and lets you know what's going on and what's important to your babies. So don't sleep on the importance of kids' literature, okay? How can we accomplish this? I want to encourage every author to keep writing. Keep writing. I don't care how many book festivals you go to and people, I didn't sell, but whatever. Keep writing because your story, it can fall into that one person's hand that'll change their life, okay? Conduct author visits. One of the most powerful ways that you can promote your book or even reach children or anyone with literature is speaking. Going as an author and being an industry expert on your topic, okay? So I encourage anyone who writes books, please try to get speaking engagements where you talk to people about your book, okay? Donate books. I know being an indie author, sometimes that's hard because everything's on us. It's not like a publishing company just sends our books out. But donate books to a local library. If you deal with abuse, to a women's group, different things like that. Plant a seed, even if you just, and I'm not saying you have to do this in a mass amount of books, but sometimes it's just donating 2 books to, we have a place in Augusta called the Hope House, abused women or something. It may put this in your library for any lady that's living here that needs some help. Things like that. Start a book club. It's a good way to talk about books and generate different things, okay? Create a fun presentation. I tell people this with kids. Kids' attention span is about as big as my fingernail. So you have to have an interesting presentation, and I'm going to show you a picture in a minute. An interesting presentation to keep their interest. I have done author visits for kids, group of children as young as 2. You do not understand how hard it is until you've done 2-year-olds, but it's all about keeping them engaged, because guess what? Babies in the womb can learn. 2-year-olds can learn. So it's an opportunity. Don't say they're just kids. No. That's an open book, and they're being programmed. Puppets and props. I've seen, even in the festival today, people have so many different creative ways that they promote their books. So puppets, props. I even do coloring sheets. I do some art with some of my children's books. I have a first aid book, and the kids are allowed to make their own first aid kits, but that helps them seal the lesson. That's why I tell people, put something in there. You can read to people, but do something to seal the lesson, because people learn different ways. Some people can learn by just looking at words. Some people need to interact. Some people need to get involved and some people need to hear music and things. Everyone learns differently. Partnership and collaboration. Michael and I were talking about this. The power of partnership and collaboration is amazing. So if you know someone that has a book similar to yours, or even if it's not, if you all can figure out a way to collaborate and bring your communities together, where they're learning your lesson and you're learning theirs, that's powerful, okay? Be a book vendor. We're all doing that today. Yes, that's a way it's a way to network. You all, I have learned so much from just being a vendor at festivals. I've learned from other authors. I've learned from the host. I've just learned so much. Being a vendor is a powerful tool. Attend festivals, support other authors. So sometimes, like I said, partnership and collaboration is key. But if you want people to take you seriously as an author, please don't show that you're just in this for yourself. It's a community. Sometimes I've been asked to do events and I can't come. I can't be there. But I tell I say, hey, I won't be able to be there, but I know this author and she's probably available. You have to have those connections and different things. Like in our area, it's an author named Felicia Lee, Miss B. Brown, Miss Gail, all of them, Gail Reed. I'm like, I can't do it, but I'll ask Gail, different things like that. So if you're in a bubble by yourself, you're probably missing out on a lot of opportunity. And that's the thing, even with the festival here, we all told each other about it. One of us probably wouldn't have known about it if we didn't communicate. Read to kids. Please read to kids. Please read to your grandbabies, read to schools, volunteer at library. Please read to kids. It's so much power. Even read to your babies in the womb. Read. Introduce that early, so we can work together to knock that statistic down to 0, okay? And partner, like I said, with your local libraries and schools. We're almost done. This is one of my book covers. That's Boomer Be Nice. And as you can see, and I'll just tell you a little bit about this and how I use this to reach children. So this is Boomer Be Nice. And as y'all can see up here, Boomer is acting like he's lost his everlasting mind by pouring dirt in these young girls' hair. So while I love using this story, this is a story about anti-bullying, which is a huge issue in schools today. Huge. So I use this story to teach about bullying. I use it to teach kids to apologize, and not only to say, I'm sorry, but also go back and fix what you did. Because a lot of times we tell people, just say I'm sorry. Sometimes that's not good enough. You have to fix it. And I'm also a leadership trainer, I go to different schools. Organizations, and I use this book to teach them as well. Okay? So here are some of the ways that I use my book. Oh, before I go there, everyone in here, I encourage you, and a lot of people had this today, create you something. If you want to do author visits or be a speaker, create you like a little one-stop shop that people can read real quick, that just gives a quick snapshot of what you do. So I just post my books and a picture of me. I say I do readings, art, and assemblies on anti-bullying, safety, and leadership. Schedule your author visit today. I'm a local author, coach, and speaker. Keep it simple. My basic contact info in a brief little paragraph. I really suggest that. That is so powerful, you all. So when people say, what do you do? And they don't have time to really talk, I even dropped this off to local media specialists at school. It has been a door opener. It's just like a one-stop commercial. So if you don't have something like that, I encourage you just to create something like that. You can drop it off to churches, whoever you want to reach, okay? Please, 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 take a picture. That's powerful. I created this on a PowerPoint slide. My sister's a graphic designer, but she didn't have time at that point. And I was like, well, I'll do it. And I've been making copies of this. I just got it printed as it's in a 4x6, and it's powerful. I give them out at festivals. It's just a quick thing. And I booked so many author visits just through this, okay? And I'm gonna show you what Stacy's author visits consist of. I don't know if y'all can see all this. So I know this is a little dark, but my books are based on my dog. So what you'll see is one of my dogs, Billionaire. He actually goes with me to the author visits to the schools. How do you think kids feel about that?
Oh,
They love it. They love it. He's a nice surprise. And I also have a dog named Donut, and they just love her name. So Donut goes on some of the author visits too. These are some of the festivals. I did the Hay Atlanta Kids Book Festival earlier this year. That's the Book Tavern in the middle at the top. I actually did a book reading. That's when the little kids were there. We did a book reading, and then we did the art. And you see how the parents and everybody got involved. Do things where you're just not reading to people. Do things where you're getting them engaged. And this really helps promote literacy. That's reading at a local library. Again, that has the little ones involved. And then, this really blessed my heart. The one in the middle next to Billionaire, there was a young girl. She had to do a dress as her favorite storybook character. And she chose Boomer. And her mom created a Boomer outfit. And it just blessed my heart. It just blessed my heart to do that. So you know what that showed me? Kids are listening. Kids are listening. And then that's just a couple other pictures from different things. So I tell people, do not sleep on the power of literature. Do not get weary on, don't get weary on this journey. Just know you are reaching someone, even if it's one child, okay? So with that, that's some contact information for me. Any questions? Anything? No questions? Well, I really appreciate you all taking the time to sit with me today, learn more about the importance of literature and different things like that. Reach out to me and connect with me if you have any questions, and I look forward to having a great day with you all, okay?